welcome to the Laughing Monkey Music Show. Today I'm Leslie Mandoki. How are you?
Oh, great. Thank you for having me. I mean, we just had a wonderful evening yesterday, and I would love to share with everybody's listening now
Please.
this what we've done. I was talking to our record company since ages. I mean, let's do something like a point of sale action. It sounds
Okay.
so old, like sounds so analog, that to go to a record store, a big record store. I
Yeah.
mean, we have really few big record stores still, even
Anywhere.
uh, and we just play an acoustic set, like an unplugged
Okay.
little tiny desk thing, and and oh no, come on, this is so old school, and we are not sure that the people will like this. So yesterday we did it, and the whole this last big record store in Munich where I'm living was overrun by people.
Really?
So I was just, there people were everywhere. Never seen so many people in that store, and we just played actually a normal concert set, in just the piano, a little percussion, acoustic. That's all.
Just a few.
And we played the new album in that tiny desk thing, and we loved it so much, and it was such a beautiful experience. And today I'm sitting here, and all over the papers are that, hey, someone was doing it like it used to be.
Yeah.
So and it was also for me very joyful to listen, to play, of course,
Yeah.
but to the album in a tiny acoustic version, as I wrote the album before, the whole thing has got produced. So, and it was great, and having Tony Carey and all, got the guys around me. So it was beautiful. I really loved it. So I just wanted to share this joyful moment with you that
Well,
we just.
congratulations. I like that. I think that's really cool. And I mean, it's a good intro because, as I was saying before we went on the air, I had not known so much about you. And being a music lover of all types of music, and I love a good songwriter, and I love things down. I love analog music, which we'll talk about in this new album. I went to school for recording analog, and then it went out the window for recording when I was younger. So to me, that's what my heart is. But I love Atmos. So there's a lot of things you've touched upon. You have a fantastic history that goes way back. It would take me, I think, 8 weeks of a documentary to cover everything about you. So we're gonna focus on the stuff that's going on now. We may touch on other things, but the first thing is the biggest thing I've gotten out of you, because you're a producer, you done solo, and then this new album, and you've had the Soulmates, since the '90s, right? It's been a
Yeah.
collective, and I know you've avoided the supergroup term, but outsiders would see it as other bigger names. But what you've done is found other music lovers, probably in the same wavelength, to communicate it. And there are reasons why it would be known to be a supergroup, because they're fantastic musicians that go to the top. I mean, that's how life is. So that's super. But it's not a supergroup like some kind of supergroup of superheroes or some kind of Marvel movie. It's a group of talented musicians that all work together and rotate to and with your guidance. And as I delved into myself a lot of new music, it's fantastic. That's why this is a fun interview, because I've really fallen in love and got almost drunk on some new stuff. But you have a new album out. It's a little special. It's a memory of our future. The topics are a little bit different. You kind of dig it a little bit differently for your lyrical inspiration. And of course, you got a great bunch of people on it. I mean, you got Ian Anderson on it. And I swear to God, you got him smiling in the picture. I see him smiling. I don't know how you did that. But I've had him on. He's one of my favorite musicians in the entire world. So having him on in the first track, I couldn't have been happier. But why now with the lyrical content so much now? I mean, you've been political your whole life. I mean, that's how you started, like
Yeah.
escaping oppression. And people,
Yeah.
there's so much to get into. I'm not going that far back, but that's fantastic too. But why now does it kind of come back lyrically for you?
Well, I think we are living in a kind of labyrinth of crisis,
Mm-hmm.
and the compass is lost. And as I was a teenager, I learned that the Anglo-American music So the British prog rock, the American jazz rock, and people like Frank Zappa, Ian Anderson, there's just to name
Hmm.
two genius musicians from the both sides of the pond, um, had a great influence on me. But I never had a record, one of them,
Right.
because behind the Iron Curtain, we never had American or British records. So when I had a seventh generation of mono tape copy of a Jet Total album, which I couldn't know how the cover looks like, then I was the king. And I had a Tesla tape machine, a Czech tape
Yeah.
machine, Tesla, and it was Tesla stereo, but had only one speaker. Because in Eastern Europe you didn't know that Coca-Cola should be drunk cold, and
Do they know that now still? I keep hearing people are still going to get warm.
and, and per person per week only one bottle of Coca-Cola was allowed, because they said this is the American poison,
Oh, they're right though. They were right, I think. But
and even in the school they were telling us that wherever this bottle comes, and the dream of the socialism and the communism was gonna
yeah.
fall apart. Anyway, so music was very meaningful, and only one radio station was reaching us, and this was Voice of America. And that was just changing the world, the listening to Doors and Zappa and to all the great British prog rock bands like the early Genesis and Yes and Emerson, Lake and Palmer and of course Jet Total and Cream and all these. So and now as I was really starting, I was studying music, and I was starting to be to be the voice against communism, and kind of pro-American, pro-British voice, and I had incredible problems with the communist police, because I just was. I was not even, fighting it in that sense. That I was just, I wanted to be free. I said a musician is a free minded guy. An artist is a free minded thing, and so I became somehow the leading rock voice of the oppositional movement, and we played prog rock with the jazz rock influence. And this was my idea back then, and what you have in your hand right now is still that my teenage vision of music, that I really love that prog rock way of writing, and the lyrics and the production, very sophisticated, very mature, complex thing. But I was missing the American fusion jazz rock virtuosity. And I said, okay, someone has to come up, to combine those two. So let's say Ian Anderson on one hand side and Al Di Meola on the other side, So as we escaped, I escaped with a good friend of mine, and every American knows his work, because he has 2 stars in the Hollywood Boulevard. He was a young movie maker. His name is Gabo Chipo, and the 2 stars is, one is for Simpsons, the other one is for Rugrats, and he was a cartoonist, and he was painting on my drum kit, all these figures. So
that's amazing. When I read that, I couldn't believe that. I was like, man, what
so we escaped through a tunnel, and we almost got killed, but we survived. And we got to West, and the central refugee camp of Germany. And the American resettlement officer was asking me, so okay, boy, I really understand that you wanted to escape, the Russian oppression and all this. We understand this, man, and he welcome to the free world, but please explain it to me. What the hell are you going to do now in the free world? And I said, it's very simple. I would like to, play in a band, but I'm gonna, with Ian Anderson of Jet Total and Jack Bruce of Cream and Al Di Meola. And I said, wait a minute, this was 75, right? So these guys were playing in soccer stadiums and sold millions of records. And this guy said, you must be totally crazy. And he turns to Gabo Chipo and said, what the hell are you going to do? Because you have a crazy friend. He wants to play with Ian Anderson and all this guy. And then Gabo is saying, well, I'm going to go to Hollywood. I started my own film studio because I'm a cartoonist and I have some ideas. So now, let's say, a couple of decades later we are now, and thank you for having me in your show right now. And actually, 32 years ago, I started a band with Ian Anderson, the Jack Bruce, and Al Di Meola, to merge and to melt together American fusion and British prog rock values. And actually, no one ever left the band apart of that tragically. Someone like Greg Lake or John Lord or Michael Brecker or Jack Bruce passed away, and they're playing now with Jimi Hendrix. But many great players. I mean, at the very beginning was with us Al Di Meola and Bill Evans and Randy and Michael Brecker and Mike Stern and Ian Anderson, Jay Bruce, David Clinton, Thomas, Bobby Kimball, and then later on Chris Thompson was joining in, and also Greg Lake and John Lord and Andrew Jackson and Victor Bailey. So from both sides, so from the prog rock and from the jazz rock side, we just like Bill Evans and we had a fantastic tour 20 years ago called. Also, Peter Frampton was joining in the guitar, and Manfred Mann was synthesizer, and so we just had a great lineups always. But no one ever left the band. This is just a part that someone joined Jimi Hendrix in heaven, unfortunately, sadly, and it's just we are dedicated to a kind of utopia for realists. Like one of the last album was called, and this is and this new album is still very special because we continued working, but of course we started in a momentum 32 years ago where it was just before digital age was coming up, and so it was so we started with analog recording. And it's just a 48-track Sony digital tape machine came up in studios, and I was on my studio was growing throughout the years because I recorded a lot of scores for Disney and another major film studios, and so as we were growing and worked with Phil Collins and Lionel Richie and but maybe. It's a great story just to tell you and share this how Chaka Khan joined in. It was we have our studios nearby Munich and by the Lake Starnberg, and this, I'm living about 1.5 miles away from the studio. And I have a waterfront house there, and it's just the halfway between the studio and my house is a wonderful waterfront restaurant. And when we play here in the studio, every now and then we just have a hang there. And this was the case, like about the summertime, about late. Yeah, so late lunch, like 4 o'clock in the afternoon, like because we played and went on and on and on. And we just about 6-7 guys around the table, and Bobby Kimball, Al Di Meola, everybody, Ian Anderson is there, and we were just kidding. And Jack Bruce had a fantastic, very dry kind of ironic humor, and we were just kidding about that we are a boy group.
Yeah,
and because. Robbie Williams wanted to join us and take that, and Jack Bruce turned it down, the idea. He wanted to talk about it. And so it was funny. We were kidding about that, and take that, and boy groups. And then somehow someone said, okay, we are truly a boy group. So what about having a lady, a girl, to singing with us, a female voice? Well, it'd be great. And so then I said, okay, we had beer mats on the table because Bavaria, we had this beer mats. So I said, okay, we took our Sharpies and everybody's writing on the beer mat, but in a way that covering that
a secret wish list.
Yeah, absolutely. And so and I will count in and everybody's showing on a 3, 4, so flip it and show it, And you won't believe, 6 or 7 guys, I can't remember anymore, everybody had the same name on it. It's Chaka Khan. So
Really?
So what am I doing? So we were back in the studio about 7.
What year was that? I'm just trying to think. Like, was Shaka on the scene? Because she had a big year, but then she's always stayed very popular with her musical peers. But the charts are always different. How is
Yeah,
she on the radar for all of you at the same time? That's
I think.
amazing.
I mean,
Coincidence.
she was always kind of she was there because she's so incredibly musical,
I
and
agree. I think she's a perfect for it. I'm saying that the odds of you all thinking that, though, I mean, she is a perfect mix for the
absolutely,
group.
absolutely. So what happened? So we come back to the studio. It's about 8ish, 7ish, and so I called Chaka and I said, Chaka, I woke her up in LA, and she's not an early bird. So I said, Chaka, darling, let me tell you what's happening. We are here, Ali Muller's here, Randy Brecker and old genius players and legendary icons, and I have an idea. We would like to have you as the female voice. I said, sure, great. I mean, tomorrow. So the next day she was here,
Wow.
and and she was impressing us in an incredible way. I mean, absolutely incredible. I mean, uh, we started to record it. I was playing the song what we would like to record with her,
Mhm.
and I tell you, this was a really complex melody.
Yeah.
She just heard it once, and she said, "Okay, let me go out." And I said, "Okay, come on, we need to practice a little."
Right.
She was nailing it right away. I mean, with so much of it. But we are so lucky because it's another very similar momentum was we recorded a second album and let the music show you the way. And this is a
Mhm.
kind of middle eight in the song is extremely challenging. The melody I wrote there, and this is also very high in the register.
Mhm.
And Bobby Kimball was singing, and everybody knows Bobby Kimball's voice from Toto. That he's one of the greatest voices ever
Right.
in the whole industry, and he can really bell it out. And so, for God's sake, I don't know why, but we were not in my studio. I remember to the place, the situation very well. It was in Abbey Road Studios, and because we played in London or something. So so Bobby is singing this middle eight, 8 lines, and fantastically. I mean, just absolutely overwhelming.
Mhm.
And Jack was just sitting next to me behind the mixing console, and I pushed a talkback button, and Jack is saying, "Bobby, this is great what you're saying, but let me do it now with a little bit conviction, a little bit feeling to it." And I said, okay, fine. I mean, I wasn't saying anything. It's okay. And Bobby was very polite and said, hey, Jack, give a shot. But we all had the feeling, come on, Jack is overdoing it now because it was
Right.
fantastic what Bobby was singing. So we thought, okay, yeah, of course, please, Jack, go out. And what's happening is Jack goes out and sings it so incredibly,
Yeah.
his 8 lines, he was blowing us away. So, and Bob is pushing the button, sitting next to me. So Jack goes to you, and so this is with us having Aldi Maula and Mike Stern and Steve Lukather on the record,
Yeah.
and we're having Randy Brecker on trumpet and Till Brother on trumpet. So it's fantastic having John Halliwell of Supertramp on saxophone and Bill Evans on saxophone. So it's fantastic, with all these legendary icons, and I'm so happy and thankful that they're sharing the vision of this kind of music. And but this album, that you have in your hand, the new album, A
Mhm.
Memory of Our Future, is very special. This is differing a little bit to the rest, and because we were out on tour, 30 years of anniversary, and so Soulmates, we were celebrating, and we played the big venues in Europe, and I just kept on writing. And we had the impression internally and as a band,
Right.
and the album before this one, Utopia for Real, is happened so great in a way. We recorded the Bela Bartok piece, Hungarian Pictures, and the reason because Greg Lake and John Lord came up to me about 25 years ago, 20 years ago, and we were on tour, and he said, "Well, Leslie, you are born in Hungary, so you are Hungarian origin, so you must have some very special ties to Bela Bartok." And of course, and then Greg Lake is saying, let me share with you the big secret. Emerson, Lake and Palmer never really wanted to record, this pictures of an exhibition. The original plan was to record Hungarian pictures, but they never got the permission from the Bartok gang.
Oh, okay.
So we recorded Allegro Barbaro, and then we got a legal problem. And so we sorted out for Allegro Barbaro, but we couldn't get on, to do it. So can you do something that we could record this with Soulmates?
Yeah.
I was very self-confident, So and I said, okay, of course, I'm a Hungarian guy. I will call this, Barto gang, and of course, so but it was very slow. It was difficult to track down who is really the owner of the thing, and we were after the tour of that tour. We got together in London with Jack Bruce and John Lord and of the Purple and Greg Lake, and we worked on the piece. And then I got finally on fax that absolutely no way I don't get the permission to do it. So we had to stop doing this. And it was the kind of upset because this was the tour where also Peter Frampton was with us and on the Legends of the Rock. 2 big rock TV shows as well. So we stopped it, but I said, okay, whenever the 70 years gonna be over, then we are going to record because then it's free. So and very sadly, very unfortunately, John and Greg, so John Lord and Greg Lake and Jack Bruce passed away until the 70 years was over. And then I called Al Di Meola and Corey Henry came in, and Richard Bona, because as Jack was passing away, actually I was sitting way after the funeral in the night with Eric Clapton, and Quincy Jones called me and they said that you need a new bass player now, and so you're probably in London at the funeral. I said, yeah, we are way after that, and he said, okay, in 4 days, I'll see you in New York City, and I will introduce you to Richard Bona. And since, as Richard is our bass player. So I called them, all of them. I said, okay, remembering, I promised to Greg Lake and John Lord and Jack Bruce that we're going to do that. And so we made it Hungarian Pictures. We recorded that way. And it was so fantastic. The way it turned out, we loved it, and Corey Henry was doing such a fantastic job, and Chick Corea was on his very last tour before he passed away in Munich, and he dropped by in the studio just because he was a Bela Bartok freak, and so to listen to the whole bit, and he was giving his hey guys, this is really great.
That's cool. Very full circle. Very.
Absolutely. And then we never said to each other that we're not going to make another record, but somehow it was in the air that this Utopia for Real is so well done in a way that it's going to be incredibly difficult to do anything else after that. So, but I'm a composer, so I kept on writing, and I'm a lyricist, so I kept on writing and feeling myself, as I said before. The world is in this labyrinth of crisis, and the compass is lost. And so I play during the tour to the guys these new songs. And Tony Carey is saying, Leslie, I hate you. I really hate you. So what's up? What have I done wrong? I say, look, we all write these kind of songs, but you write right now. as we were 25, and you are writing this with full energy, full conviction, and that's fantastic. We need to record it fast. So I don't recall who it was, but probably could have been Albert Aldimol, I don't know. But I said, look, Leslie, you're so crazy anyway. So you never really sell anything on technique stuff in your studio. Uh, do you still have your 2-inch analog tape machines in the basement of your studio in a cellar? I said, of course. So I came back after the tour, went down to the basement, and they were sealed, in plastic,
Right.
and well functioned, maybe 20 years. So I was pushing up with my guys on the elevator, studios, and putting it up. Called the old engineers, the analog guys, all retired. The guy, I need you to come by and bring all the parts. Bring everything what you have. We really want to check it out. So, and we really do a maintenance thing. So line it up and all this. So I thought it's gonna take weeks, but we were sealing it in a very good, working condition. So
Right.
so it took only 2 days. A couple of little things, this and this and that.
Wow.
And it worked. Old studio machines. That as Germany was big. In mechanics. So Germany is not good in any software, but in mechanics.
In mechanics, yeah. It's kind of
Yeah.
strong, yeah.
Yeah, this is engineering part, art of engineering, mechanics, metal things, they look a lot beautiful. So it worked. So I was sending an email, guys, we can get together and we make an old school record. So we just play together. We sit in, I have a big studio, so and I realized that the red light bulb was not in anymore because digitally you didn't need it. And
right.
and analog recording is still a different ballgame because you have a great limitation. I never thought, an Eastern guy, an Eastern boy, that a limitation could be an inspiration, but it is.
Oh, yeah.
You have only one guitar track available. There is no other track, so there's no that you can record 27 and you work it out. And that focus is totally different than analog recording because you are focusing at the recording process and not at the post-production.
Well, the punch-in process too, right? If you got to cut a guitar mistake or punch
this
in,
finger,
you got your razor blade, get the razor blade, and you're splicing.
Yeah. The two things, but you were not using anymore. This is this finger because this punch-in finger, like you have your one finger is on a play and on the record button, and then you have. This is milliseconds as way because the punch it, and then there's a razor blade. And to sitting together in the studio and playing, so looking at each other and have the walls in between and the cameras going, and so it was a fantastic thing. So, and you have rehearsal, but digital age, you don't have rehearsing because you record everything because, but it was fantastic. It was, we really loved it.
That's amazing to go from that, but not just that. And maybe people, I just want to step back from it, that aren't aware of going back in the analog world. Like even for me, like in school, we had like a room full of it. We practiced splicing. I mean, people don't know splicing is when you take it, you lay it down, you have the razor, you're from the right spot, get your grease pencil. It's such a perfect, it's like fiber nowadays. It's so precise. You're cutting it and you're fixing it and you're cutting it. It's so hairline that's a skill. So for you to have all this music and talent and then do this album recording when you haven't been doing other albums and still do this is like another monster, I don't know if everybody appreciates, like nowadays, like, oh, it's analog, I did it differently. No. If you're not used to doing analog is that punch, that splice. That's like years of perfection to get that. So to take all that on and do this album is a lot.
Yeah, and the result is actually
good.
Handwritten love letter to our audience. It's not a text message. It's just this is really the sonic resolution is so warm, so different. This is really there. So it was a wonderful journey. I mean, and believe it or not, it was not taking any longer because we rehearsed, and most of the records, most of the songs are first takes,
Oh, yeah.
because we're sitting in a circle. We were just making some notes, and it was handwritten again. Well, I mean, the last 2 decades I was printing it out, the sheets. Now it was written again with a pencil, a razor, and we were sitting and just circle the piano and acoustic guitar, a little percussion. It's okay. Let's do this. Oh, okay, and we were not playing. We were just thinking and talking over it. And when we were playing, then we were absolutely clear what we're doing, and so it was all the conviction and the feeling blended. So actually, we think that is our best record because it was so fresh and young and funky because we
Well,
felt
I mean, hopefully you want that though, right? As an artist, every album you want to be your best because you feel like you're doing something different, and it really is your best. You're not just shining someone on by saying it's my best. It's like it's the best of me right now. That's the goal
yeah,
of everything
yeah,
in life, But it's with you guys together. I mean, when you brought everybody in the '90s, everybody was already top level musicians. Now you guys are all like ninja level musicians, right? Plus, you all speak the same musical language at this point. You can probably just look at each other and interpret. You can write a song for Al and this and that, like his style. You can kind of interpret it like a marriage. That being said, with all that and all that talent, at this point, doing the one take, doing that is something that's so natural for you. I think for your next album, you have to get somebody in your band that's horrible, that takes away from it. That's your missing wild card. Is you need somebody that's learning or somebody that throws you off. It's like everyone's so good, you all speak the same language. You know
yeah,
what I mean?
absolutely. It's incredibly joyful. This is a greatest honor, and it's a privilege to have this, and actually. You don't have any musical limits because everybody can play anything, and you have, okay, what about this and that, we should do that. And as I think it maybe the greatest challenge is to hold back the virtuosity and use musically in a way. And we learned it because of course sometimes when we're just playing around in the studio we're
Yeah.
really getting fast and virtual.
It is, but can I say one of the things I've enjoyed, and I think I've noticed, and I spent hours in the studio stuff in younger years too, and working with musicians is not all musicians get along. There is ego, even the friends. There's ego. There's competition. I mean, you got like rock bands that like the Jagger, the Richards. There's always a competition and whatever. But what I kind of felt here with you guys, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, obviously, but it feels like there's a certain trust, and I see it. Like looking back at your different live performances, hearing it in different albums that you've done, it feels like each of you trust each other to put it out there, win or lose. You still feel safe, like you're in a safe spot to try it, and it feels like everyone's pretty cool about it. Like, do it. If it's not right, we'll polish it. We'll have fun with it. But it's not like, oh, I don't think it was for the band. I kind of kept it back. I didn't want to get beat up. I don't think you guys have that, and I feels like by watching some live performances that there's a certain trust and friendship.
Absolutely.
That is not something you see ordinary. It's not just top musicians, it's top human beings. Good people. Each person comes without an ego, per se, and you have your language and your friends musically. And I think that's what I see and that's what I hear in the music. And I think that's why it's even that much more enjoyable because it doesn't feel pretentious. It feels real.
Absolutely. But it is real.
Well, yeah, I'm saying it does feel like though. Like sometimes it's manufactured nowadays. And I think that's my long-winded point was this project of yours is not the supergroup. It's a super group because it's super. There's a super bunch of people that are great. But it's so real and it's a musical family and it's true. It's really real.
Yeah. I mean, throughout the years it was growing and growing and growing. We know each other's kids very well, the personal things, extremely well. And so this is really feels good. I mean, and it feels like home.
Yeah.
I mean, Corey Henry said this feel like church, and this is true. We just get together and it feels like we just play and enjoy a lot.
I tell you, back to the one coming about Roger Williams, the younger Roger Williams would be good, I'd love to see you guys do something with him now in one song. The new, mature, thoughtful Robbie Williams. His voice, the music could be kind of fun nowadays.
You know, the Robbie Williams story is also so much fun.
It's so funny.
Because it was as he was leaving Take That.
Yeah.
He was signed to RCA, and his first solo album was not working.
Mm-hmm.
It was not a hit, and so we were just about to record our second or third album. I don't know. So so the whole gang was here, and the boss of RCA called me and said, Leslie, you know, we have this, you know, Take That guys, you know, Robbie Williams, and the first album wasn't really, you know, doing any good.
No.
And he's a bit, you know, has some little problems, and you know, so. And for you guys, you know, you have all these legendary icons like Ian Anderson, Jack Bruce, Dave Clinton, lots of them, this Bobby Kimball. So what about, you know, a younger fellow, you know,
yeah.
And I say, and what is the producer saying to the boss? Say, hey, boss, great idea. So why don't you just send me a cassette? What, you know, what's a cassette of his, you know, that we have a kind of idea,
right?
So of his new songs, so next morning or whatever at lunchtime. So I'm sitting with Jack Bruce behind my SSL Mexican console, and my secretary walks in and I said, Leslie, you know, here's just you know. Messenger came with this little package, it was a cassette from RCA boss, and so I take it out. It's a cassette, and just behind me is the cassette deck in the rack. And I said, Jack, well, let me hear. Let's have a listen. You know, what's that? I'm saying, oh, well, the boss was calling. You know, RCA boss.
Yeah.
And this is the take that guy, you know, Robbie Williams. I said, and Jack is, give me that. So he's looking at the cassette, and it's written on X, Take That, Robbie Williams. Jack said, why Take That? I mean, these guys are the dancing thing, you know. My kids are listening to that shit. I mean, we are legends. I mean, you have here Michael Brecker and Ellie Mel. You must be crazy. Breaks the cassette in two, and throws, you know, the trash can underneath the mixing console. That was. So I never.
That was that. Take that.
That was it.
Take that.
And I was very happy that the boss was not calling me anymore about that issue. And later on, a couple of months later, the album was finished. I said, you never called me back about Robbie Williams. I said, well, you know, somehow, you know, the guys didn't really felt like, you know. Okay. So, and just a year later, Robbie Williams became huge. Yeah. And but we never heard that cassette because it, you know, but.
That's funny. I mean, you know, Jack, you probably did something good because, I mean, let's face it, he's had enough outside, you know, internal problems with band members historically. A young Robbie Williams was a handful. Like the last thing he needed in his life was another handful. Band. I mean, Jack's had enough. He's like, oh, okay, we've had enough in the past. So
yeah. It's, you know, in the band, it's Soulmates is always the greatest respect. No egos, nothing like that. You know, everybody knows very well what's all about.
It would have been a hard fit. I don't know. I mean, it would have been explosive. I don't know if he would have fit. I mean, now, as he's realized he's an older statesman and kind of said, I kind of made some mistakes, and this is really who I am. You know what I mean? That's the Robbie we should have started taping then. That's pretty funny. What's I have a question. So I'm watching this, and not looking for figures, but the economy of music, you guys have been able to consistently put out high quality albums through the years, stay together as a band through fads, economic things, record labels from cassettes. Yeah, DAT, you guys doing DATs, you guys doing analog. Probably like doing dubs and like little Tascam, you know, 4-track recorders. You probably have a 4-track in your closet still. We all have those Tascams. People that know. But with all that, and then like on an audience situation, like you have these beautiful venues that I've seen online. Obviously, I love to come over and see you play in like one of these beautiful venues in Europe. but you have such a high level group of performers and so many musicians. Financially, to keep it working, it's got to be a logistical nightmare on some level, because just to get a venue and insurance and stuff, not even worrying about the talent and you know what I'm saying? Is it so hard? Has it gotten harder, or because you guys are at such a level that they're like, because there's some musicians, like especially like the US, you know what I'm saying, there's certain levels that they're like, no, this is the ticket price and it's going to pay for this. This happens because everybody just accepts it, that it's inflation and this is the artist. You know what I'm saying? Do you have that same reputation over there? It feels like you do.
I mean, we have a couple of secrets, which we only we only communicate with each other.
Yeah.
So no one is we don't have any in-betweeners, not even our secretaries.
No handlers.
No lawyers, no label people, no agents, no promoters, no publicists, just no one. So we just talk to each other and texting and WhatsApping, whatever, emailing to each other directly, and that helps a lot.
Yeah,
because this our life is not about money. I mean, we all, we're very thankful to audience, and their love of music propels our, music, and we are all, everybody's on the sunny side of life, and we are just very, 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 very thankful. Highly appreciate that, and everybody feels the same, and here we are together for a good cause, just to create some different, something new, something together is something growing out of this, and we feel like, logistically is sometimes, yes, a nightmare so far, that everybody has their own touring schedule, and you know, to come together,
right.
and that there is but we've found good ways to do that, and kind of everybody knows that there are some special periods in a year that we are trying to do that, and they're all coming, so it's just great, nice, and everybody's doing it with great conviction and full focus, and full power in many ways.
I don't know if one thing to talk about with other smaller bands, and that's why I sound like the money. I think people realize, and I want people to realize, when an artist does stuff, buy the album, buy the vinyl, whatever, you get the merch, go to the shows. Because at this point, and that's what I wasn't for numbers, but like a lot of artists at your level, low levels will say, if I can just get my plane and my hotel, I'm just not going to go in the red at this point. I got my meal thing, I got my other thing. I'm not saying for you guys, but I'm saying a lot of things. I know a lot of artists that are just like, from Europe, they'll come over. They'll be like, if I can just break even, I can pay the band, the roadies, I can pay it, and I can pay my bills. It's not about becoming billionaires, and it's about the venues, this, that, the cost from the apocalypse that we had, the cost of insurance and stuff. You know what I'm saying? Has made it so challenging. But to still have a band, that's what I'm trying to stress. It's so amazing that I'm sure you guys have made other sacrifices where you're like, well, I need this, I need, we don't have enough caviar back here. Not saying you do, just make a joke over a rock star joke.
Yeah.
The point is, you guys are probably not like that. It's probably ham sandwiches. And you're like, I just want to go to stage. I want some good guitar strings. You know what I mean? And a good hotel bed.
Yeah.
And people are thinking different of like, whoa, you know what I mean? But it really is, and it's not. It's just a team.
Yeah, we are easy. We are easy. I mean, we don't really, we don't need the president's suite. We are way older than this. We all all been there. It's just it's just it's about music and about friendship, and Greg Lake, as our late Greg Lake, as we were playing London in Hammersmith, and BBC was there, and they asked him, I said, Greg, I mean, Emerson, Lake and Palmer was one of the greatest British prog rock bands ever. Why are you doing this? And I said, well, it's on it was on TV, and it's on YouTube. You can see that, and he's answering, Leslie's a friend, but this is a simple reason. This is the best band in the world. This is, and in this band, not one person is doing it because of money, but generally, not with so much, but generally,
I know
you
what you're
don't
saying.
you don't become Ian Anderson if you do it for the money. You
Right.
you are kind of, you have this uh, waitful, artistical volume, what you would like to express
Mhm.
yourself, you know, and you try to heal the role in a way, and this is what it is. That means a lot.
But you can't. I think that's what I wanted to emphasize to people because generation changes, and I'm not trying to be the old man get off my lawn. But I'm 53, and I've had some of my favorite artists, modern rock. But but what it always comes back down to is when I talk to somebody, like I spoke to John Anderson not that long ago. Did you hear the last album he did, his solo album? Like, yes, oh my god! And I said he's got more to go. He's got a thing with Rolling Stone to do. I'm like, you're out of control. I mean, this is like the epic songs you're making now are comparable and as good as. I said, so he doesn't need it. You don't need it. I don't know your band members need it. You got Super Tramp. You got the Nick from Cutting Crew. He's fantastic. He's a great guy. I learned the expression, I can't teach you how to suck eggs from him. I'm like, what does that mean? Because I was having a problem with our connection. I'm like, is that an insult? Is that a compliment? I don't know what it means. Can't explain it. But the point is that you guys all do it because you do it. Like as a musician, you don't make money starting out. Once you make the money, you feel comfortable. You're like, all right, I did it. Now I'm still going to make music because I can't stop, whether I'm successful or not. You have to make music.
Of course.
And I think some people are like, oh, they don't need it. They're like, it's not about that. And it's not always about making the money. Sometimes there's other forces that are causing the expenses of the shows. And the artists are just kind of going there at this point.
Of course.
But you're not going to say that because it sounds pretentious if an artist says it. But if a guy like me says it, it explains it to a little differently. You know what I'm saying? It's how it comes across. I try getting that out there to people because I want people to realize that there is a love of music still for you guys. It's not just a check. And is there a chance you guys will do USA plays in the US soon?
I mean, we are negotiating about it because we would like to hit the US. I mean, we played at the Grammys when the Grammys were in New York once. We played the Beacon, and it was fantastic. Just shortly after that, Scorsese was shooting there. The Stones.
That Shine a Light or whatever.
Yeah.
And I know you come to the US. You were just here. I missed you. I didn't have a chance to come. I was going to come down and see you in person and talk to you. I just didn't because I'm kind of close. I'm in Connecticut. So I know you are.
Connecticut. You are just around the corner. Yes.
I was. When I got the information, I was like, I can't make that dime to see you. Like it was like a couple days. And I'm like, I have a job too. But I was like, oh, so close. But you do come to the US and you do it. And I'd love to see the performance. I'm sure other people do. And is it just about the coordination and the economics that would stop it from happening?
Oh no, I think we can make that work. I don't think so that the economics would ever. No, it's okay. It's complex because a lot of issues, technical issues, and coordination issues, and we are in sort of in Europe is everything is around, but we have our system here. But we would love to come over. So absolutely, and I'm sorry to, but I was missing you then in person because it would have been great.
I'd love to see you in person, and I just think there's a lot of hardcore fans. And you talk about Zappa. I've done a lot of shows and work with his son Dweezil, who's just the same level of artist now that Frank was. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so his shows are like that same level, where it's just so good. And it's hours long. And it's just so much music, and it's just you're so in love with just music you can forget about it. You know what I mean? The quality, and the musicians are friendly, and it's not you don't feel it. And that kind of music is kind of well received over here. There's still a huge audience for that, and that's why I think your show will be eaten up alive, by a lot of us.
Sure. I mean, we love to come over, but there's so many things are happening. New songs are coming up.
I get it.
Next year in January, February, March, we are gonna release a luxury um, as the record company deluxe digital thing, because we are going to have the the studio recording,
Yeah.
parallel to the live recording. So we recorded the shows in this summer,
Oh,
and
nice.
we play the same songs, in the same, pretty much in the same way.
Right.
You have the studio recording audio, and then you have the audio visual, so live recording. So it's gonna be fun.
That's like a music nerd heaven. Um, I want to thank you for talking. We've been talking quite a bit, and hopefully I can catch up again, continue on. But I do have one last question. I think when I was doing this, getting ready, for this, and I don't usually I'm not a question person, but I have a deep dive into the music, and I feel like everything kind of comes out in a conversation. Than preparing for these interrogation questions with an artist. You have such a talented person in front of you, and you ask them, "When did you play guitar? When did you play drums?" Like the same thing you've heard in every single interview makes me crazy, right? But what I do is I like to go, if I know the artist or whatever, I just re-listen to the music in a certain order or whatever, and I absorb it. And one of the things when I was listening to all your music, and like given is a lot of this new, is listening to your earlier music, you really had a jazz fusion feel, like when you're out when you're self-titled albums, really interesting sound. I really kind of enjoy it, almost like a separate artist, almost, you know. And then it feels like the evolution, and you could probably answer more on this. It feels like because you've had like Supertramp in this in Purple, like you have these different artists of sounds. It's like a conglomerate, and you're also a producer, so you work with your artists you have. It's part of your palette, knowing what you have for paintbrushes as artists. So you have all these different crazy colors. Each artist is like be a crazy color because they're from these great bands, right? And so you know what you have for tools, and you're a songwriter and you're a weak performer. Is that kind of how the sound you have now is from? Is it evolution from putting everything together what you had for skills, or was it a thought that you had from the very beginning of what you wanted the sound to be? You know what I'm saying? Or did it evolve, or is it from the situation? Is it situational, or did you create the situation? That's my last question for you.
Okay, I really got your point. It's somehow I would describe you what are in a little bit different way.
Okay.
I think there is a vision,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm this fortunate position, which is a great honor, that this certain vision being shared by these iconic legends. And because they share the vision, the situations are unfolding naturally, organically, like it would be planned out. There are certain logistics are planned out, of course, yes, absolutely, but only to a certain extent, so are these plans, the rest is just organically happening, because I've write all the lyrics, finalized absolutely in very detailed. I've written, yes, all the music, so the harmonics and the melodies and the structure of song, everything I wrote down, before the guys are coming in. So, but then on, it's just a wonderful process, procedure, which is just gets on and on and on and on, and push it to the limit, dedicated to perfection, just with great respect to each other, and it's just happening.
Well, it's fantastic, and I'm gonna be honest. I don't have people on the show that I'm not a huge fan of this. Why would I do that? Why do I waste time? So to me, I appreciate the time. It's been a real honor to talk to you. You're a really great, not just only musician but producer, and you've gone through a lot. But as somebody that likes listening to music a lot, the reason why I thought that is because, like, when you first hear one of your songs, like, oh, it's contemporary, or it's this, people can just label it whatever. But when you listen to it a few times, that's when you really get a song in. And when I was listening to your song a few times, I was listening to it. I'm like, God, that sounds like that, but it doesn't sound like that. It sounds like this, but it doesn't sound like this. I'm like, what an eclectic blend. It's like taking a bunch of really top recipes from different countries. Taking the seasoning and put it together, and you're like, that tastes like, but it doesn't. It tastes like this too. How's that? But it has its own flavor. That's what it feels like to me. Like it's got its own thing when you really look beneath the engine, the car. You know what I mean? And I think that to me is my ultimate compliment to the music. It's original, but it feels like home on some level.
Thank you so much for saying this, because it makes you feel home at then probably many other music lovers
Mm-hmm.
can feel the same, that this music is should give us a safe feeling that yes, we will find that damn compass, but maybe
Right.
it's
But it's
past.
also adventurous. It's not safe fun. It feels right home. Like it feels right. You know what I'm saying? It feels nice. It's not safe because the music has got some great twists and turns in it. It's just
All
home
right,
is home.
I hope it's over. Thank you so much for having me. It was a really great, a joyful, fun
Oh,
conversation. Thank you so much.
I Gladys, and hopefully we can do this again sometime down the road and revisit some of your stuff. I thank you.
I thank you. So it was wonderful.